So one thing that I do every single month is go over and analyze the next chapter of Boruto TBV VORTEX based on what we already know. And I try to make sure I do it before I read all your hot takes and predictions for the next chapter. So I'm pretty sure you can all expect that from my next upload before the spoilers start dropping. The first sneak peek for chapter 27 should drop around 7 days before the official release. So if we go off of that bit of information, then we should see that around the 13th or so. So be on the lookout for that. But as it pertains to next chapter, as I stated for chapter 25 and 26, we're in a transition period into the next arc. And we're officially going to enter that next arc in chapter 27. So chapter 25 and 26 was preparation chapters. It was meant to give us new interesting narratives that we can follow to get us hype. So obviously, if we go back to chapter 25, we have the first bit of information, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you forgotten about this, but it's the situation in Sunagakure. As you all know, Gaara and Shinki are safe. Pretty much everything is back to normal over there. But one thing still remains. We still need to see how Shinki responds to hearing that Yodo died in order to save him. Believe it or not, that's a huge talking point in the story, and it could impact Shinki and Araya in a big way. It may even create a change in his character. For an example, let's say Shinki doesn't take Yodo's death so good. It ends up sparking a lot of motivation within him. Enough motivation and anger towards the Shinju to the point where he would want to help rid the planet of the Shinju in Yodo's honor. That's a very likely outcome from the scenario, and it could cause Shinki to be a more reoccurring character in the story. If you think of it like that, then IKEMOTO giving us a peek at Shinki in this next chapter would be super necessary. Because at the current moment, Konoha is about to get attacked by another Shinju, Mamushi. It wouldn't be surprising if Shinki would want to cooperate with Konoha and help them battle against Mamushi to show gratitude for helping to save him and his father. Something Koji probably knew, which could be one of the reasons why he even sent Konoha Shinobi to the Land of Wind. One reason was to obviously secure Matsuri's Thorn Soul to save one of their own shinobi, but another reason could have been to help Araya and Yodo rescue Shinki and Gaara. And in return, you get more allies to help fight against the remaining Shinju. And you guys know how big I am on the idea that the Boruto anime foreshadows some key events that happens in the manga. I made multiple videos on it going over each scenario. It might be time to make a follow-up video on that. But anyway, yeah, we've seen this multiple times, like when Boruto created a whole new Rasengan to defeat Code, a former Kara member. It's literally like Boruto creating a new Rasengan in the compressed Rasengan to defeat Deepa, who was also a former Kara member. As you can see, the concept is the exact same. Or how about the anime showing us a glimpse of Boruto saving Himawari from danger, just like how he saved her against JURA. It can be paralleled to the scene from an anime opening where Boruto saved Himawari from great danger. And there is many others too, trust me. But if I sat here and named all the anime and manga parallels, then we'd be sitting here all day. But long story short, it's very evident that this was done on purpose. And another scene from the anime that I'm gonna mention as it pertains to a potential duo is this scene right here, when Boruto and Shinki fought alongside each other to take down Urashiki. Remember, the foreshadowing that the anime will show you is never to be taken at face value. They'll show you the basic concept of what's to come, but never the full story. Otherwise, that's just spoiling a lot of key moments for the future. So it's designed for something that you'll just have to read in between the lines and look for the hidden meanings. As it stands, this scenario is in the best position to become a reality. If Shinki now looks at the Shinju as a threat to not only his village, but his father, then he's bound to help Boruto and the rest of Konoha fight the Shinju. Yes, even if that means teaming up with a quote-unquote criminal such as Boruto. Like I said, it's the perfect moment in the story for them to execute this new alliance. And I don't mean to make anyone too excited or anything, but in this fight, the JOUGAN did make an appearance. Of course, I'm not insinuating that the JOUGAN is going to awaken in these upcoming chapters, or even has a chance to for that matter anyway. But I do think if we take into account of what I said about not taking anything at face value, then what we can conclude from this is basically soon after the upcoming chapters, we could potentially start building up to that crazy event. The event where Boruto awakens the JOUGAN. And Boruto as he stands, he desperately needs a power up in any way, shape, or form. Whether that comes in the form of the JOUGAN, or just being able to use his karma without Momoshiki bothering him. A power up for Boruto is confirmed, it's gonna happen. All we gotta figure out is what will it be. But as it stands, this is probably one of the points I'm most confident that will happen in the upcoming chapter. Obviously not him immediately coming to Konoha, but just hinting at a potential change in Shinki's character to make him want to help out because of Yodo's death and Gaara almost being killed. It could motivate him to get stronger, or like I said, build a relationship with the shinobi of Konoha. So we move on to the next building point that chapter 25 presented to us, and we see it's the Sarada and Sumire situation with Eida. Now I feel like this is one of the more trendy topics that's been going on in the story right now, and that's because of the build-up. For so long, Sarada and Sumire been hiding the fact that they were never affected by omnipotence. And finally Eida found out, ironically because of their love, but for someone else. And I'm pretty sure Eida knew for a while now, which is why she constantly asked them, are they really enchanted by her? In which they proceeded to lie each time. But now there's no more hiding it nor coming back from this. Because time and time again they express love and attraction towards another person right in front of Eida. Like Sumire getting all upset about Sarada hugging Boruto in front of Eida. If she was really affected by omnipotence, then this scene would have never happened. Eida was for sure suspicious at this point, but now it just confirms it. So now that they're not affected, they're capable of killing Eida. But before they were able to do anything, Daemon stepped in to just remind them that he's still here. And while he's still here, nothing will happen to Eida. So this scene is pretty much setting us up for an insane case of blue balls. Because even though we got all this action by Sarada and Daemon, even her activating her MS to defend herself against Daemon, I can see Eida calling Daemon off of both Sumire and Sarada so they can just talk it out. We gotta remember, despite all that's happened just now, Eida still considers both Sarada and Sumire dear friends. Actually, this is all she's ever wanted. Real genuine relationships with people. She wants people to like her for her, not because of her power. The fact that Sarada and Sumire aren't affected makes their connection even better in the whole grand scheme of things. And Eida sees that. All their talks about the guys they like, they were all real. She has to have realized it by now. If Daemon kills Sarada and Sumire, she'll never have a true connection with anyone ever again. So just off that fact, I think it's pretty obvious we won't see any fighting between Daemon and Sarada next chapter. And I can pretty much guarantee we're going to see the continuation of this scene in chapter 27. You know, just because it's so controversial and heated. I actually think we see this not too long after the beginning of the chapter. Maybe chapter 27 will start right off where chapter 26 ended. But for simplicity reasons, let's just say we're gonna see Eida and the rest again sometime in the first half of the new chapter. That much I can say for certain. And while we're on the topic, during this conversation that Eida is about to have with Sarada and Sumire, is going to get interrupted. And I'm pretty sure you can guess by who. No, it's not who you're thinking. Just listen. So now this scene is directly intersecting with the previous one. Because we can't forget, Kashin Koji is about to tell everyone the abilities of Mamushi and how to deal with him. Vital information that is needed to keep Eida safe. So it's really important that everyone knows, especially the people who's gonna have to eventually deal with the problem, meaning Eida and Daemon. Inojin is going to link everyone together in one conference call, and they're all gonna discuss that. My only question is what will happen with Sarada and Sumire, because this is vital information they need to know, but at the same time, they don't know about Koji's presence. Is it time for them to know? I actually wouldn't be mad about that. And I think it would be kind of obvious if Eida starts talking to Kashin Koji's toad in the middle of their conversation. So that bit is confusing. I want to see what IKEMOTO chooses to do there. Because at this point, you can't just dismiss them from the story anymore. They're as important as anyone now, especially in Sarada's case. So I'm just speaking on my personal feelings here. I want Sarada to know of Koji's assistance. I want her to know the truth. We're talking about a new Sarada. She doesn't act like how she used to anymore. She's ready to know everything. So remember, Eida is going to be a high focal point for next chapter. But unfortunately, she won't be the chapter cover. I mean, I guess before I forget, I'll tell you who I think will be on the cover. That right there goes to Mamushi. As someone who's of high importance right now, and everyone is talking about him, I think it's time he gets his own cover. All the rest of the Shinju have one, so I think he deserves it. Okay, so moving on, we got the Shinki situation figured out, and of course now Eida. She and everyone else is gonna learn all about Mamushi and how to defeat him from Kashin Koji. Now after this, we can possibly see the Shinju yet again. And this time, it's yet more build up to the point where Mamushi finally decides to invade Konoha. Call me crazy, but I think JURA will actually talk to Mamushi about his desire of devouring Eida. I'm pretty sure they both know of Daemon's presence, and he's someone that they cannot ignore no matter what. From the ending of their conversation in the last chapter, JURA seemed very, and I mean very intrigued about his idea of the Shinju thriving more, because he feels like it could be a way he could learn more about love. So now he's interested in seeing Mamushi devour his target for his so-called control over Eida's genetic information. So to see that it happens, they're going to talk about how he can make Mamushi's mission a success. So it's gonna be more like just giving him pointers instead of physically helping. Because like Koji said, JURA holds Konoha's cultural value in high esteem. So therefore he doesn't want to fight in Konoha. But apparently that's not the same for Mamushi, since Koji said he's going to invade Konoha in 1 week. This is going to be a mission where JURA is not included. So meaning we're only going to be seeing Mamushi and possibly Hidari take on this invasion. So I mean, I guess that's a break for Konoha. At least they don't have to deal with JURA. So yeah, they will talk about certain things that Mamushi should know going into this operation, like Konoha's sensory unit, meaning he's going to be detected as soon as he enters Konoha, so there's no use trying to sneak in basically. And to get to Eida, she will be protected by really strong fighters. So I guess this is where Mamushi's ability to split himself among other clones makes sense, if that is his ability anyway. I only say that because in this vision from Kashin Koji, we see Mamushi literally cloning himself. That's what it looks like anyway, but I could be wrong. And I guess since we're on this panel, I'll mention some additional narratives that I thought about, but I don't necessarily see happening in chapter 27. I'm pretty confident it'll be very important later on down the road though. So I'll start with Himawari. She was in one of Koji's visions. You can see her right on the bottom of the screen. Now look at her expression. She's locked in. I mean, she's prepared for battle. And in addition to that, in chapter 25, we see her internally training with Kurama to better their synchronization. So right here, IKEMOTO is straight up telling us that Himawari is gonna have a huge role in these upcoming chapters. Perhaps a battle against Mamushi, or even Hidari if he comes to Konoha with him. It could also be against one of the claw grinds. No matter the situation, she's going to be in the mix somehow. And she's not just gonna be sitting around and watching, she's gonna be helping out in the fighting, and also showing off her and Kurama's training thus far. So put major stock into Himawari because she's about to show out crazy. So now closing out, of course we have the Boruto and Momoshiki situation. The situation that everyone been talking about for the last couple of months. And probably the hottest topic out surrounding this manga. That's also something we should look out for in a later time. I don't think it's something we'll see be further elaborated on just yet, because the bet they made was supposed to be against JURA. So I think the next time they fight JURA, we'll be in for a surprise. But against Mamushi and I guess Hidari, it won't be anything that'll get brought back up. So as it pertains to that, it's still gonna be a few chapters until we get any more information on that deal. And from the looks of it, Boruto doesn't seem to want to talk to anyone about it. So not too much we can do for that. But just like the Himawari situation, I want y'all to put some major stock into Momoshiki for later, because he's gonna show you all just what he can do when granted access to abilities like the Flying Raijin and Uzuhiko. And that's pretty much it for my chapter 27 prediction. Everything I mentioned, I believe should be a high priority going forward, and it's necessary to prepare for the next battle against the Shinju. But anyway, let me get some of your predictions down below in the comment section. If I see any real good ones, I'll be sure to feature it in the upcoming hot takes video. So make sure you think it through so your comment gets chosen. But anyway, I think I'm gonna end it off here. So without further ado, if you enjoyed this video and don't mind seeing more like this in the near future, go ahead and do me a favor. Like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you get notified whenever I upload. or go live for chapter spoilers. And until my next one, I'll see you boys and girls later. And I'm out. Peace.